What is your job or career?
I am a teacher, a high school teacher.
What do you teach?
I teach world history to freshmen and U.S. history to juniors.
What are the hours that you work?
My school day starts at 7:45 and gets over at 3:35.
What are the benefits of being a teacher?
The benefits of being a teacher are obviously doing what I love to do. I wanted to be a teacher ever since a young age, and basically just sharing my knowledge for what I went to school for, and hoping that students gain the interest in social studies as well. So,
What is the salary that you get?
well, I'm a first year teacher, so I get like the base rate of $31,000 a year. And then I'm also the varsity volleyball coach, and so tack on another $4,000 for that, which is awesome. But yeah, first year teachers, that's what you get. So,
What do you like about being a teacher?
what I like about being a teacher is sharing the experiences that I've had, not necessarily having to do with education, but just in life in general. Sharing stories about how my high school experience was, how I got through high school, and then what I did to get through college, and just being able to prepare them for life after high school. And that is the biggest thing that I emphasize is, what are you going to do when you're not in high school anymore? What are you going to do when you don't live with your parents? And so I try to aid them in making the best decisions for them possible. So those are the things that I like, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with what I teach. It's just being a mentor for them overall. So,
Do you have any dislikes?
a dislike is how my job is mentally exhausting, and whenever anybody asks me, what's it like being a teacher, that's my answer, because it is, and it's a different kind of tired. I am asked questions, and I have to think on my toes all day long, and students like to not really challenge, but just pump information from you like day in and day out, and that's awesome. It's great when it's like that, but it's very exhausting. So,
What schooling and training do you have to do before you become a teacher?
well, you have to finish high school, number one. And then getting through school. I got my bachelor's in education, had to take the necessary courses in order to get that degree, and then completing student teaching, being placed into, I was in a high school and being the teacher and being scared about having to create my own lesson plans and projects and grading and everything that goes into what my job is right now. So.
How do you use oral communication on a daily basis?
I use oral communication every single minute of the day. Before school with my colleagues, during school with my students and my colleagues, and teaching, lecturing. I do a lot of that while being a social studies teacher, giving notes and answering questions, asking questions. It can be a lot, and I do that day in and day out. So.
Since written communication and technology are tied in together with your job, how do you use those two together?
I do a lot of emailing back and forth with teachers, my principal, parents of students, and I've been doing that a lot. Now the end of the semester is coming up. So email is what I do, written communication, and it's a great tool to have when you can't get a hold of somebody. And if you have their email, it just takes a second to get that to them, and they can answer in a second to get it back to you. So, yeah.
How do you use collaboration?
I'm the only world history and U.S. history teacher at my school, so collaborating with other teachers that have the same lessons or ideas for my class was difficult at first, but I got in contact with the teacher that had my job previously, and he's now an assistant principal in the same school corporation, so it was really easy to, through email, get in contact with him, see what he did in his class, certain lessons, projects, what worked for him, what didn't work. And then I have a mentor teacher who I bounce ideas off of, and she teaches the junior and senior levels for social studies. So those are the two main people that I really bounce ideas off of.
What about critical thinking?
Critical thinking, as a teacher, you always have to be thinking about your students, what's best for your students, especially with lesson planning and certain assignments, and if you have a higher level student and a lower level student in the classroom, how are you going to meet the needs of both? And so I really have to accommodate lessons and certain assignments, and knowing how to do that, and just knowing my students overall. So I have to do a lot of critical thinking on that part. So.
What about work ethic?
Work ethic, I think I have a pretty good work ethic. For what I do, I have a lot of preparation and planning because I am a first year teacher, and I always have to create my lessons from scratch, and so if I need to be ready for the day, then I have to make sure that I am prepared, and if that means spending a whole weekend doing lesson planning, then I'll spend a whole weekend doing lesson planning.